I never expected my family to turn on me, but it all started with a diamond ring. A symbol of wealth and love, something so small, yet powerful enough to unravel years of trust. It was the kind of thing that could tear apart the closest of relationships if the wrong person was involved. My name is Claire, and I've always been the quiet one in the family. While my sister-in-law, Vanessa, was the outgoing, confident one, I preferred to stay in the background. She was always the center of attention, and my brother, James, adored her. He had always been the protective older brother, and I had always respected his decisions. But there was something about Vanessa that I just couldn't put my finger on. Beneath the surface of her beauty and charm, I sensed a hint of envy, a desire to compete with anyone who came into her orbit, especially me. It was a summer afternoon when it all began. We were gathered at my parents' house for a family barbecue. The air was thick with the scent of grilled meat, laughter, and the sound of children playing in the backyard. James and Vanessa had just arrived with their 2 young kids, and Vanessa was glowing. She was wearing a flowing white dress that accentuated her figure, and her diamond engagement ring sparkled in the sunlight. "Claire, darling, come over here," Vanessa called, her voice dripping with sweetness. "I have something to show you." I walked over, feeling the familiar discomfort as she flashed her ring in my face. "Isn't it beautiful?" she asked, the words almost smug. "It's stunning," I said, trying to keep my tone neutral. Vanessa always had a way of making everything seem like a competition, even something as personal as a ring. I knew it was a gift from James, and I had always admired how happy they were together. But there was something about the way she flaunted it that made me uncomfortable. Later that evening, after everyone had eaten and the sun began to set, I found myself sitting alone on the porch, gazing at the stars. The cool breeze was a welcome relief from the heat of the day. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. It was Vanessa. She sat down beside me, her presence as striking as ever. She didn't speak for a moment, but I could feel her eyes on me, studying me. "You know," she said finally. "James has always had your back, hasn't he? Always protected you, always favored you." I stiffened, unsure where this conversation was headed. "I don't need protection," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "Oh, I'm sure you don't," she said, her tone turning icy. "But it must be nice to have someone always looking out for you. I bet you never had to work for anything, did you?" Her words stung. They were sharp, meant to provoke me. I knew she was jealous of my relationship with James, but I never imagined it would come to this. "I've worked for everything I have, Vanessa," I said firmly. "I don't need your judgment." She smirked and stood up. "I'm just saying," she said over her shoulder. "Sometimes things come too easy for people like you." I didn't know what she meant by that, but I had no time to dwell on it. The evening went on, and I pushed her words to the back of my mind, but the next morning, everything changed. I was at home, making breakfast when I received a call from my brother. His voice was frantic. "Claire, I need you to come over. Now." I immediately felt a sense of dread settle in my stomach. "James, what's wrong?" I asked, my voice shaking. "It's Vanessa," he said, his voice strained. "She's accusing you of stealing her diamond ring." My heart dropped. "What?" "I know it sounds crazy," he continued. "But she's convinced that you took it. She's been crying, saying it's gone, and I don't know what to do. Please, just come over." I hung up the phone in a daze, my mind racing. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could Vanessa think I would steal from her? I had no reason to. But the more I thought about it, the more confused I became. What could possibly have made her think this? When I arrived at their house, Vanessa was pacing back and forth in the living room, her face flushed with anger. James stood by the door, his expression one of disbelief. "Vanessa, what's going on?" I asked, trying to stay calm. "Don't play innocent with me, Claire," she snapped, her eyes blazing. "You took my ring." "I know you did." "Vanessa, I didn't take your ring," I said, shaking my head. "Why would I? You were the last one to touch it," she yelled. "You were admiring it yesterday, and now it's gone. Don't lie to me." "I didn't steal your ring, Vanessa," I said firmly, but my words seemed to fall on deaf ears. James tried to intervene, but Vanessa was too worked up. She accused me of everything, even suggesting that I was jealous of her. She claimed that I had always been envious of her life, her marriage, her success. The more she spoke, the more irrational she sounded, and the more I realized that this wasn't about the ring at all. It was about something deeper, something that had been festering inside her for years. I swear to you, I didn't take it, I said, my voice trembling with frustration, but Vanessa wasn't listening. She demanded that I be searched, that I hand over everything in my purse, my pockets, my phone. She even accused me of hiding it in my car. I had never felt so humiliated in my life. This was a nightmare. My own sister-in-law was accusing me of something I didn't do, and my brother was standing there, unsure of how to handle the situation. Hours passed. The tension in the house was unbearable. I knew I had to prove my innocence, but I had no idea how. Just when I thought I couldn't take it anymore, James received a call from the jeweler who had sold Vanessa her engagement ring. The jeweler had been trying to reach her for days, but hadn't been able to because she had changed her phone number. It turned out that the diamond in Vanessa's ring had a unique serial number, and the jeweler had tracked down its location. James's face went pale as he listened to the news. He turned to Vanessa, his expression one of shock. "Vanessa," he said slowly, "the ring was never stolen." "What do you mean?" she demanded. "The jeweler just called," James said, his voice barely a whisper. "The diamond in your ring. It's been traced. It was never in your possession. You lost it." Vanessa's face went white. She staggered backward, as if the ground beneath her had disappeared. Her eyes welled with tears, but there was no apology in her gaze. She looked betrayed, but I knew it was her own actions that had led to this moment. "You lost it?" I asked. My voice barely above a whisper. Vanessa didn't answer. She just stood there, silent, as the weight of her accusation settled upon her. James turned to me, his eyes filled with guilt. "Claire, I'm so sorry. I should have trusted you." I nodded, my heart heavy. "It's okay, James. But Vanessa. She needs to realize that her jealousy and paranoia are what caused all of this." Vanessa didn't speak to me for weeks after that. She avoided me at family gatherings, and I could sense the tension whenever I was around. But eventually, she came to me. She was tearful, ashamed. "I'm sorry, Claire," she said, her voice breaking. "I don't know what came over me. I let my jealousy get the best of me. I accused you of something awful, and I'm so sorry." I hugged her, holding her as she cried. "It's okay, Vanessa," I whispered. "I know it wasn't really about the ring. It was about everything else. We didn't become best friends overnight, but we slowly began to rebuild the trust between us. It wasn't easy, and I knew that there would always be a part of Vanessa that resented me, but at least now we understood each other better." As for the diamond ring, it was found a few days later, hidden under a cushion on the couch in their living room. Vanessa had misplaced it, but the damage had already been done. Trust, once broken, is hard to restore. But in time, Vanessa and I both learned valuable lessons about the dangers of envy and the importance of honesty.